my first big question was, how can I be a therapist if I'm autistic? And keep in mind, this is my career, and it took me a long time to figure this out. I was really identified with career, okay, and my role. How can I be a therapist if I'm autistic? I Googled that and found this article by autistic therapist Natalie Engelbrecht. She's got a lot to say here, and I wanted to edit it down, but I just couldn't, okay, because it's all so true. Natalie writes, I have deep, deep empathy, so it is automatic, and I feel a tremendous pride towards these people that I feel are fantastically brave enough to look deeply into themselves such that they do not repeat the past. I've been told repeatedly that that is part of what makes me really good at what I do, because people feel cared about, and I do not think you can fake that. The people I have worked with have been manipulated and hurt by many of the darkest and most wounded people, and they will see through fakeness. At the same time that my ASD turns my empathy off, my empathy remains on. What does that look like? And how can I have both at the same time? What it feels like to me is that one part of my brain cares deeply and is present in the room for the patient, and another is watching the patient very closely and processing everything about them unconsciously, allowing me to say the correct thing in the appropriate way. I have had to learn to memorize social rules in order to live in a neurotypical world. While neurotypicals learn from these rules intuitively, I've had to be hyper aware of them as I have to consciously apply the rules to every situation. This makes me very good at breaking down the rules and seeing where the patient is applying them in a way that is unhelpful. This makes it possible for me to adapt to my social environment and explain its intricacies. I have zero judgment. It is just not there. Your sexuality, religion, gender identity, diagnosis, your career, none of that registers in any way, good nor bad to me. I see you as a fascinating human being who's developed from genetics and environment. I suspect it is part of the empathy, lack of empathy. One part of me knows that I have shared every dark thought you have ever had, and another knows that these pains and that who you are is a part of how your brain learned to survive and accept your past. You are a product of your malleable brain finding the most brilliant way to survive. So I love being a therapist. It allows me to be helpful to people I respect and care for by utilizing my special skills given to me by ASD. So much of what Natalie describes experiencing exists outside of and far beyond the practice of psychotherapy. And I think that's the point I want to make when I'm sharing my story, and that's where it's holographic, okay, that I really see this as relating to, to all of us as human beings, as neurodivergent human beings, as autistic human beings, okay? That this exists outside and so far beyond the practice of psychotherapy and passionate autistic endeavors across a variety of pursuits and disciplines. Back to me now. Then a seismic gestalt shift occurred, a shift that has now become an intermittent flow and grappling state of witnessing, appreciating, and hopefully helping catalyze autistic identity as it arises in my life and life circles.